Hey y'all, I'm back. This video was supposed to come out last month, but I got about halfway through and got soft locked, so here we are. This run is based off of that viral Reddit post of the religiously imposed challenge run. Now, the post only mentioned no magic and no potions, but as a former evangelical preacher with a religious studies degree, I figured I could use my knowledge to create a full rule set for the run. Quick disclaimer, this rule set is a generalization for the purposes of a challenge run in a video game. I know not every evangelical believes exactly the same way. I just needed to come up with some rules for the game. Alright, cool. Rule number 1, no magic. This is the rule from the Reddit post, and it includes spells, enchantments, potions, and poisons. One exception I'm going to make is shouts. For one, you literally can't beat the game without using shouts. But I think I also found a loophole to allow them anyway. Shouts are basically words spoken in the dragon tongue. In fact, you could kind of see fights between two dragons as a really intense argument. From my time in evangelical circles, I know they have a fondness for apologetics, or arguments for why their beliefs are true. So shouts will essentially be my apologetics for this run. Second rule, no stealing. If picking up an item would be seen as stealing by the game, then I can't pick it up. Thou shalt not steal and all that. Third rule, I can only fight to defend myself. Now, evangelicals typically aren't fully pacifists, but fighting is often seen as a last resort to defend oneself or one's family. So that's the rule that I'm going to go by in this run. And last but not least, I'm going to take a little bit of a liberty here and say that Talos is going to be the stand-in for the biblical god in this run. That's because if I'm not using potions, the only way I can heal diseases is by praying. Also, with Talos being a man who ascended to godhood, he's the most similar to Jesus in my mind. I know it's technically like the exact opposite. Talos is a man who became God, Jesus is God who became man, but it's a video game world and a fantasy religious system. There's not going to be a one-to-one comparison. But that's the rules out of the way, so be sure to like and subscribe, and let's do this thing. Okay, one more rule for the run. I'm a trans woman, and in most evangelical churches, me living that truth just isn't allowed. So for this run, I'll be playing a male character. This one specifically, who I named Christian Man. Also, I'm not getting into a character for this run. I have 2 character-based runs that I'm working on right now, and I just want to do something simple for this video. So I wake up in a cart, Alduin saved the one person who can defeat him, and I left Helgen with Hadvar for no particular reason. The Stormcloaks in the first room only attacked Hadvar, so according to my rules, I couldn't help him out. Same in the enhanced interrogation room. The Stormcloaks just refused to attack me, so I wasn't able to fight. I made my way to Riverwood, where I ran into Faendal, who wanted me to deliver a fake letter to Camilla. Too bad for him, I'm being a goody two-shoes this run. So I told her it was a fake before getting my reward from Sven. I went through Bleak Falls Barrow, making sure to only take out bandits after they noticed me. I actually accidentally revealed myself to the bandit who usually activates that trap. I think this might be the first time I've ever had to fight him in all the years I've been playing this game. I took out the spider and then cut down Arvel. Now he doesn't attack and just runs away, so I have to let him run into the Draugr who then take him down. I continued through the rest of the dungeon claiming the Dragonstone, before returning the Golden Claw to Lucan. Now that Lucan considers me a friend, I can take most things from his store and house, namely all his food. Since I can't use healing potions, I need to stay stocked up on food, and one of the best ways to get it is by taking it from people who consider you a friend. The game don't count it as stealing, so I won't either. So here's my food supplies as I leave Riverwood. Not bad for this early in the game, but I will need to keep my eye out for any food that I run across. I stopped by Pelagia Farms to get some more food on my way into Whiterun, where I bought a full set of steel armor and talked to Carlotta. She was having trouble with the local bard who wouldn't leave her alone, so I went and stopped him. Now I can take all the food from Carlotta's stall. Now is a big part of the reason I'm even doing this run, so that I can scope out good food locations for a future chef run? Maybe. Who's to say? Anyway, it's time to fight a dragon. Irleth and the guards did most of the work while Milmunir was in the air. But once he landed, I was able to help out. I'm not going to pretend I did even half the work though, but I still took all the glory when I ate its soul and got called to High Hrothgar. But before heading up the mountain, I made sure to loot the Dragon's Reach kitchen. I'm a Thane now. It's not stealing. My trek up to High Hrothgar was largely uneventful except for stopping to fight the Frost Troll. Was this a stupid decision? Yes. Did I burn through more of my food than I would have liked at this point? Also yes. But it felt so good to be able to take it down with a big hammer when I typically run away in every playthrough. I shouted at some old men who then sent me to collect a horn, a note, from a tomb. Usengrav was generally uneventful, except for this parkour place I found that let me skip the part of the dungeon I always get turned around in and stuck in for a solid 10 minutes at least. So that was nice. I met with Delphine and we're off to slay another dragon.
And it's gone!
Yeah, Salakinir's never really that much of an issue. He spends the first bit of the fight as a skeleton, and by the time he can even fly, we've usually got him under half health. Next up is the Thalmor Embassy, but first, a quick detour to join the companions. Why? They have food. I want food. If I join them, I can have food. Once I'm done with that, I meet with Melvin? I know, I legitimately put it in my script as Melvin. I know that's the joke people made, but I legitimately made that mistake in my script. Anyway, I meet with Malborn and have him take my armor, hammer, and all my food. Once I'm at the embassy, I take all of the food from the party before heading back to the kitchen and taking all the food from there too. The embassy itself isn't too difficult. I do have to cut into my healing supplies a couple times, since I have no magic resistance. But they have elven armor at best, so my hammer can smash right through them. I've never really played a two-handed build in this game, and the damage output is wild. I managed to save both Malborn and the prisoner, even taking down the Frost Troll on the way out. And yes, I still kept to my rule about only fighting in self-defense. I got between Malborn and the Thalmor agent, so it looked like the Thalmor was coming for me. It counts, okay? I just really wanted to save Malborn. Now I need to meet up with Esbern and Riften. I wasn't able to get Brynjolf to give me directions without first doing a Thieves Guild quest, which would obviously go against my rules, but fortunately, I've played this game before, and I know exactly where to go to find him. The Thalmor on the way out are no more difficult than the ones in the embassy, so before you know it, we're making our way to Karthspire. We slay a blood dragon, and then I almost fall to the Forsworn right after. My lack of magic resistance is really the most difficult thing about this playthrough. I swear, if I'm not paying attention, mage enemies can just drain my health in a matter of seconds. But anyway, we make it through the Forsworn, I turn a few pillars, and we head into the Blade's Temple. While we're in there, I make sure to pick up the Blade's armor. I may not be able to use Dragonbane in this run because, well, it has an enchantment, but the Blade's armor is just a straight upgrade to the steel armor I've been wearing to this point. Delphine lights a torch with the nothing that she's holding, and I listen to Pete tell me the history of the boomers. Oh wait, sorry, wrong game. I make my way up to Parthenax, who tells me that I'm going to need an Elder Scroll, and the College of Winterhold might be able to help me find one. One problem there, though. Because of this run, I can't set foot in the college. I know I can get in with a shout, but I just kind of feel like taking help from actual wizards would kind of go against the spirit of the run. So I'm going to do something I've never done in this game, and I'm going to go find Septimus without the quest marker. I did get a little distracted and ended up at a Shrine of Talos for a quick prayer, but I eventually found the cave I was looking for. Septimus gave me a box and sent me off to look for an Elder Scroll. Now I could spend the next 30 minutes fighting my way through all of the Falmer and Blackreach, or I could go straight to the Tower of Mizark where you come out, glitch through the gate just enough to reach the lever, and go in the back to get the scroll immediately. I'll let you guess which option I chose. The first Alduin fight was honestly more annoying than it was difficult. I used up way more of my food reserves than I would have liked. I'd still beat him on the first try though by just making sure to keep Dragon Rend on him, and then just rushing in and smacking him with my hammer. After that fight, I had to make a run to all the inns to restock on food before the end of the run. I knew the second Alduin fight is never a problem, but I honestly just didn't like my chances of getting through Skuldafn with only the food that I had left after that first fight. One Piece Council later, and we're trapping Odoving. I just hit him with Dragon Ren and backed up to lure him into the trap. Odoving takes me to Skull Dolphin, where I have my first and only death of the run, when a dragon slaps me with its tail. After trapping and riding on Odoving again, I fight my way through Skull Dolphin until I get to the end, where I just run past the Dragon Priest to get into Sovngarde. All that's left now is the second Alduin fight, but not before I grab all the food I can from the Hall of Valor. I swear I'm going to be doing this as a force of habit for the next few runs. The second Alduin fight is just as simple as always. Same fight as the first time, but now I have 3 people fighting with me. I deal the final blow on Alduin, proving that yes, you can beat Skyrim as an Evangelical. You know, that was honestly a really fun run. Healing through food wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. As long as I kept an eye out for any farms and kitchens I could take food from, I was good for most of the run. I only had to go around and buy out the inns once. No, honestly, the hardest part of this run was not having any magic resistance to speak of, except for the cold resistance from choosing a Nord. If you want to do this challenge yourself, I would highly recommend picking a Breton. That way you at least have some magic resistance for like fire and shock as well. And I know what kind of can of worms I'm opening doing this run. I'm going to end up having to do runs for a bunch of other faith traditions now. I'm already planning what a Quaker run of Fallout New Vegas might look like. It's kind of hard since we don't have many like set rules, but I'm working on some ways to translate our principles into a challenge run. No idea when that'll be coming out though, but stay tuned. Like I said earlier, I've got a couple of videos in the works right now. Next one's probably going to be Pokemon Heart Gold as a time-traveling Team Rocket grunt. It started out as just a simple play through the game with Team Rocket Pokemon, but it really kind of blossomed into its own story, and I'm really excited to get that one out for y'all. But that's really going to be all for this video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!